A warm welcome to everyone. I am Tanisha Banerjee and I will be hosting today's session. Today I have with me Nasreen Zankawah, the author of the book President's Bodyguard. Thanks for joining us, Nasreen. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you on accomplishing the huge task of writing and publishing your book with us. I, along the entire team of Exceller Books, we give you heartfelt love that you have chosen us as your publisher, and we have been really grateful to publish your book. So,
Thank you.
before starting the process of interview, I would really like to tell a few words about you and your book. Nasreen Zankawah, hailing from Ghana, is an accomplished writer and blogger. Her early and secondary schooling took place in Kumasi. She has a specialized degree in journalism from Ghana Institute of Journalism. She lives in Tamale with her parents and siblings. The President's Bodyguard is her first novel. The President's Bodyguard is a story about a girl named Almaz Abil who got expelled from the military. After several attempts to get a new job failed, she finally got a call to be a bodyguard at the Flagstaff house. On the day of orientation as a new recruit, she was accused of a murder due to an unpleasant encounter that had happened that day earlier. This sudden twist forced Almas to make a decision which changed her life as she encountered pain, betrayal, adventure, and a horrifying truth about her own identity. So I think this is a great thriller book. It has suspense. This book contains suspense. This book is a it is a great book. When I was going through its first chapter, then I didn't feel to be very boring or I didn't feel sleepy. So it was a great book, and the ending that you have done, given a twist in the book, or you have done this character of Almas Abi. So what he reveals about her own life. So these are the particular things I think, according to me, it's very interesting in your book.
Okay, so I'm an entrepreneur now. I have my own writing business and I provide writing services to my clients aside writing my own books. So that's what I do right now and blogging.
We can start with the question part, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So the first question comes in as, can you tell us about Almas Abi's journey from being expelled from the military to eventually joining the security team at the Flagstaff House? What were the challenges as she faced during this situation or this time? What are the challenges that she faced?
So the book actually begins where Almas Abil receives a call that she's been recruited into the security team at the Flagstaff House. And before this, she has been expelled from the military. And this fact is something I would like readers to find out because you only know why she was expelled from the military after you read the book. So I wouldn't want to spoil that fact for now. But as soon as Almas Abir is recruited, she gets to the Flagstaff house, and on the day of her orientation, she mistakenly goes to an office she's not supposed to go into, and at the end she's being accused of murdering someone she just met a few minutes ago. So that's where her story actually begins. So she's been arrested, and then readers will have to read to know whether she's vindicated or whether she's found guilty, and whether or not she spends her entire life in prison or not.
Okay, great. So, why this book? So, what is the inspiration behind writing this book, The President's Bodyguard? Is there any experience from your end or any imagination that you have written this wonderful novel? So, what's your inspiration of writing this novel?
So for this book, before I started writing, I already had the ending in mind. I didn't know how I was going to begin, but whenever I read a book, I develop my own ideas. So I just don't read a book for leisure or anything. While I'm reading a book, I tend to get ideas from that as well. And I can't actually pinpoint which book exactly I got an idea from, but I know it was actually a group of books. I just conjured everything from these books, and then I created my own. So I had this ending and then some parts of the story, but I didn't even have the beginning. So I told myself that, okay, to be able to get to this end, I'll have to start from somewhere. So that was actually my motivation. That's what motivated me to start writing this book, because the ending of the book felt so nice to me. I just wanted to see how it turned out. So that's why I started writing. So while I started writing, I began getting more ideas, and it just kept me going. So that's how come I finally wrote the entire story. It all began with an ending.
Great. Yes, indeed, the ending is brilliant. So when I was going through your book, so I was really surprised. It was like for me, it wasn't coming that what you have written. So that's a really surprise for all the reader who will be reading your book. Okay. Now, the story takes a dramatic turn as you have written the Albert Abir. She was being accused of a murder. So, like after that, what sudden changes in her behavior took place?
Well, so after that, like I said, she has to go through trial.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you actually read the book and you follow the trial, that's when you know what verdict was given, whether it was in her favor or against her. And in fact, the president's bodyguard talks about Almaz. So you as a reader, you have to actually read to know how she became or she becomes the president's bodyguard. Because one minute she's in prison, the next minute she's the president's bodyguard. So how did that happen? So I actually like readers to read, because if I should speak about that, it will be a spoiler, and I will actually
Yeah,
ruin the
yeah.
entire fun. Yes, so it's actually
No,
good
no,
if
no.
readers
We
read that
even,
themselves.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
sure, absolutely. We don't even want you to give spoiler to the
yes,
readers. You
yes,
shouldn't
yes.
do that. Okay. Almas Abi's decision is making to put to the test as she navigates pain, betrayal, and adventure. Can you elaborate some of the tough choices she has to make and how they impact her personal growth throughout the story?
So with Almaz, you realize that she faces so many challenges from the beginning of the book up to the end. And there are times when some of these challenges are actually her fault in some way due to her own carelessness. So even though Almaz is the protagonist, we are all human beings, right? And you as a human being, there are times when you make mistakes. So Almaz's mistakes are sometimes so serious that they put her in danger. And then there are other times when she has to think about other people aside herself, because as her job as a bodyguard is to protect other people. And even though she was specifically the bodyguard of the president, she had that quality in her to always protect people. So no matter what path she took, she had to put other people first. So this actually even made her journey more difficult, to the extent that she almost even loses her life and the life of her close friend as well. So these are some of the challenges, and there are these answers she seeks to find. Okay,
Hmm.
and in finding those answers, that's where she actually experiences the adventure, because she goes to places where she has never been to. She travels to
Yeah.
countries where she has never been to. She meets people she has never met in her life and all that. So all that actually makes the adventure, or makes her journey adventurous. Yes, and then there are other, we all have close friends and families that we think we can trust, but Almas at some point gets betrayed by someone she trusts so much. So that's where the betrayal comes in. And you know that once you are betrayed, pain also follows. So that's where the
Yeah.
pain also comes from. And then she discovers a horrifying truth. In fact, you as a reader will be shocked when you also discover this truth I'm talking about. Because she was shocked, anyone else will be shocked, because it's something unexpected. No one will actually think that this is actually her identity. And everyone will be wondering how come she got detached from this particular identity. So that's how her story pans out.
Yeah. Great. So the synopsis mentions that Alma's Abri discovered a horrifying truth that you were talking about right now about her own identity, which was revealed at the end of the story. So without giving too much away, can you provide some of the insight in the revelation and how it shapes the course of the story? Like what effect this revelation has on the story afterward?
Well, so the revelation of her identity just has to do with how she was born. Her family and everything. That's just what the identity has to do with. And certainly, when you live your life thinking that maybe a particular person was your family, or maybe you're an orphan, and then later you realize that you have a family elsewhere, it changes your life automatically. So certainly, Alma's life was changed in a certain way, both positively and negatively, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, so her life was changed both positively and negatively. Yeah, even though she was happy, but that revelation also came with its own challenges or effects as well.
Okay, so we have almost come to the end of this interview. And as you were telling us about your current work condition, that you are a budding ghostwriter and you are working for your client. So, what are the coming projects that we can have from you? Like, what are the brilliant ideas that we can get from you? So, is there any further books that are coming from you?
Oh, yes, yes. So currently there are some projects I'm working on, and these projects I'm hoping and I know that they will be as thrilling as The President's Bodyguard was or is. And I'm also hoping that people will enjoy these upcoming projects just as they enjoyed The President's Bodyguard as well. So yes, there are some upcoming projects too. Yes.
Okay, great. So we are looking forward to it, to read your upcoming
Yes.
books. So now, as
Yes.
we are almost at the end of our interview, so can you please read some of the interesting lines from your book, and you can share that with
Mm,
our readers.
Page 262. So this is the book, The President's Bodyguard. Yes. So
Yeah,
yeah. Yes.
very nice. Yeah, you
Be
can read.
reading from me. Yes. Yes. So Hina, Alma screamed as she looked down the cliff. She saw a tiny image of her body, lying lifelessly in a pool of blood. She covered her mouth and could feel her hand trembling. She broke into tears and kept screaming Hina's name. The last guard left, got on his feet and took to his heels. Almas was in so much pain, but she knew she had to find the bomb on time. It was 10 minutes away from where she stood. Hina had told her that Alfred planted it near the Ghana-Ivory Coast border, and that it could cover a large area if it should explode. It meant that both Ghanaians and Ivorians were in danger. Without wasting any more time, she began running towards the west. She continued to bleed profusely, but her situation didn't stop her. George finally spoke through her earbud. She hadn't heard from him for a while because the network kept fluctuating.
Thank you so much for reading out the important lines from your book. So I won't tell you to describe the entire thing, so that will be a huge spoiler for the readers. So, but I will request you to just brief a little of it.
So with what I just read, and there's a part where Almas has to find a bomb, and this bomb has been planted at the border that actually separates Ghana and Ivory Coast. That's Cote d'Ivoire. So if Almas doesn't find the bomb on time, this bomb will explode, and then it will end up killing both Ghanaians and Ivorians. So she certainly needs to find the bomb and then disable it before it explodes. So while she goes into the forest to search for this bomb, she encounters a leopard, which also tries to devour her. So fortunately for her, she's able to hide from the leopard, and then at the end, she's able to shoot this leopard before she continues her journey to find the bomb. So that's what these particular lines are about.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for telling our audience, our reader, about the details of those lines, and we are really grateful to you to give your time. So we are at the end of our interview. So, is there anything more that you want to add about your book?
Oh yes, so I would like to encourage all your followers or your readers to grab a copy of The President's Bodyguard, because, as you said, it's a thrilling book and anyone at all will enjoy it. It's actually suitable for teenagers, adults, yeah, whoever. There's no profanity in it, so anyone at all can read it. You can just read it at your free time, or you can read it for leisure. It is also informative.
Absolutely. We will do that, and I hope that our audience will do that as well. So, thank you so much, Nasreen, to give your time. I know you are very busy right now. We were already late to start this interview, and we are really sorry for that again. And so that's all for today. And I hope that we had a great interview.
We did have a great interview. Thank you for having me too.